Okay, today we're going to talk about writing a quadratic equation if we are given the roots or the sum and the product of the roots. So please make sure that you take out a piece of paper if you chose not to print out these notes. And when we're doing these types of questions, please make sure you read slow. So to write the quadratic equation given the roots or the sum and product of the roots, first we need to remember standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We're going to write the quadratic equation replacing the a, b, and c values. We're always going to let a equal 1. B is going to be the negative sum, or the opposite of the sum. C is going to be equal to the product. If you end up with a fraction, you're going to multiply through by the lowest common denominator. So remember, that's lowest common denominator. And if you are given the roots, put a star here because we need the sum and the product. So if you're given the roots, you have to make sure that you first add the roots together and multiply the roots. So if we look at the first example, it says write the equation whose sum and product are. So we're going to start with our x squared. We're going to take the opposite of the sum, so negative 7x, then take the product, plus 5 equals 0. That's all you have to do. If we look at the second one, it says write an equation whose sum and product are. So again, sum and product. So we start with our x squared. We're going to take the opposite of the sum, so plus 6x, then take the product, plus 4 equals 0. Another key point where students sometimes make mistakes, it says an equation. That means you have to have an equal sign, so it has to equal 0. Next one, it says write the equation whose sum and product are. So again, I have the sum and I have the product. So I start with my x squared. I take the opposite of the sum. Then I take the product. And I write equals 0. Now we don't like fractions. So here I'm going to look at the denominators. I have a 2 and a 4. So you have to say what's the lowest common denominator or the lowest number I can multiply through so I can knock out the 2 and the 4. The lowest common denominator here is a 4. So 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times 1/2 is 2. 4 times 3/4 is 3. So this is my equation. And again, I distributed the lowest common denominator to all 3 terms. Now, if I look at this one, it says write the equation whose roots are. So keyword, and I underlined it here for you, the roots. Now, we're used to having the sum and the product. To get the sum, what's 5 plus negative 2? That's 3. To get the product, what is 5 times negative 2? That's negative 10. So now my equation becomes x squared. Take the opposite of the sum, minus 3x. Take the product, and then write your equals 0. And this is your answer. Now, again, it says write the equation whose roots are. Roots. So think about that. We need the sum and the product. So first, I'm going to add these together. So I'm just going to write this one underneath. 5 plus 5 is 10. Radical 3 minus radical 3 is nothing. To find the product, I have to multiply them, the 2 roots. So either double distribute or do the box. I know a lot of kids like the box, so we're going to write 5 minus radical 3, 5 plus radical 3. This is 25. This is minus 5 radical 3, plus 5 radical 3, minus radical 9. When I see this radical 9, I'm thinking the square root of 9 is 3. So 25 minus 3 is 22. And then if I look at the radicals, 5 radical 3 minus 5 radical 3 is nothing. So that tells me here that my product is 22. So it becomes x squared, the opposite of the sum, then the product, and then equals 0. This is my equation, if those are the roots. And the last one, again, we're going to read carefully. It says, write the equation whose roots are. So again, I need the sum. So I have to add these. 2 plus 2 is 4. I minus I is nothing. And I have to multiply these. So 2 plus I. You could make the box. So 2 minus I, 2 plus I. This is 4 minus 2I plus 2I minus I squared. If you remember, I squared is really -1. So 4 minus -1 becomes 5. 2I minus 2I is nothing. So here my product is 5. So to write the equation, it's x squared, the opposite of the sum, so minus 4x, then the product equals 0. Again, very important, make sure you read. If you're given the roots, you have to add them and multiply them because you need to find the sum and the product first. If you have any questions, please make sure you write them down and either ask me next time you see me in class or send me an email.